Sign up to the SBR Network and use your free daily bet points to earn real-world prizes. Click on the page and start winning now. Hi, welcome to SBR Forum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are previewing the main card of UFC 173. Right now we are joined by our regular guest, Nick Kalikas, a professional MMA odds maker and consultant for numerous sports books, and his website is MMAoddsbreaker.com. And our calling guest today also comes from MMAoddsbreaker.com. He's also a returning guest, Brian Heminger. Let's start with TJ Dillashaw and Renan Barao, and this, another one of these, main card title fights that just looks a little bit unbettable, right? Barao is minus 800 as the favorite. Dillashaw is plus 550 on the other side, and Barao obviously should have a huge edge here. The question is there value betting on him at minus 800? I don't know. Then you look at the other side. Is there any value with Dillashaw plus 550? Nick Kalikas, where'd you open these lines?
I opened at 425 actually. So got bet up crazy, and I guess it's to be expected. I mean, with the talent level of Barao and what he's been doing to the top-notch competition lately, just been destroying everybody. So it's not a big shocker that the line got bet up a little bit, but where it is now, I do think it's a little bit of a surprise because Dillashaw's a stud himself. Brian
Heminger, would you have bet Barao at minus 425 and now at minus 800? Would you bet him here?
Well, at minus 425, it definitely would have been parlay material, but at minus 800, it's even unbettable in terms of parlay, at least, especially in a straight, and probably even in a parlay. It really wouldn't add that much value.
So then you do think that Dillashaw, does have some kind of chance, more than 10% of beating Barao?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a puncher's chance or maybe a wrestler's chance, not very high, but it's just more the return isn't good enough for the chances.
Right, Nick, I'm a little bit surprised. I mean, Barao is considered to be one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in MMA right now, and he's fighting a guy who, while he is talented, you compare him up against the other guys that Barao's beaten. On paper, it looks like a slam dunk for Barao. Why'd you open the line relatively low at 425?
Well, it's a little bit of the respect factor. I mean, Dillashaw is one of these guys that, he was a prospect before he came to the UFC, and, man, he's been on fire, and he keeps on improving fight to fight. If you look at his performances, I mean, the guy's stand-up game especially, coming in from the wrestling background, of course, we all knew what he was capable of there. His submission game's legit, training with the guys at Alpha Male, but his stand-up continues to improve. I mean, he has nasty power on the feet as well. So the guy's becoming a well-rounded fighter, period. And I mean, he's no longer the prospect, he's a title contender. So I do think that in most cases he does get some respect against Barao, though. Barao just seems to be a terrible matchup because no matter where the fight takes place here, he has an edge. He has an edge standing over Dillashaw. He has an edge on the ground, even if he gets put on his back, which is going to be hard to do. I mean, Barao's submission game is wicked. So I understand the matchup here, but I still think it's a little bit crazy high at the current price because Dillashaw does have that puncher's chance, and you never know. I mean, a guy like that with the wrestling credentials as well as the fight gets, if he survives early on and it goes to deep waters, it's going to get interesting.
Yeah, for sure. You always want to be careful about betting against one of those improving fighters. That's exactly the word that I think is key here, and especially at such a big underdog line. All right, Brian Heminger, what's your recommendation as far as betting this fight? Would you say just pass, or is there any kind of a prop that you think might have some value?
I think if you're going to try a prop, maybe Barao by TKO. We did see TJ Dillashaw get knocked out by John Dodson, a guy that's a flyweight contender, a weight class below, in his UFC debut. Dillashaw was rocked by Hugo Viana a couple fights ago, and he even lost a close decision to a Sunsao just 2 fights ago. So I think he's very beatable. While he is extremely talented and improving, I think the chin isn't quite there. And Barao has shown, the guy knocked out Eddie Wineland, the guy knocked out Uriah Faber, dropped him multiple times in that fight. He's got massive power, and he is steadily improving there. So if he wins, I think it's pretty likely it's going to be by strikes. So maybe try that Barao TKO prop. That would definitely increase your odds quite a bit.
All right, what about maybe a shot with the under 4.5 rounds at minus 160? In any MMA fight, 4.5 rounds, that's a lot of rounds.
Yeah, I think under 4.5 rounds is actually a decent play here. I would not be surprised whatsoever to see this fight stopped. If TJ Dillashaw wins, I don't think he gets a stoppage, but I mean, if you think Barao's going to win, him winning by stoppage, whether submission or TKO, maybe he rocks him and then finishes him on the ground. That's actually not too bad either, and the odds are much better there.
All right, so Nick, I'm assuming, as I would assume was the case with any time you're dealing in a title fight with a huge favorite who's considered one of the pound-for-pound top fighters in the world, that the books are going to be a little bit heavy on Barao action, that they're going to be needing Dillashaw small?
Yeah, actually, we are in this case. I think the parlay action is going to continue to come in on Barao. We'll get some straight action back, of course, especially where the line is now on Dillashaw. So it won't be too bad, but this is a case that we probably will need the underdog to come through here, no doubt about it. And I do agree with you guys. I think as far as betting this fight goes, maybe fiddle with the under a little bit, or the props are the way to go here, because you got to pick your spots. And if Barao does finish, it's going to be likely inside the distance, and probably more so by TKO than anything else. But Barao's such a good finisher. I mean, it's kind of hard to pick your poison with him. I mean, he can submit you or TKO you, so inside might be a little bit safer and a lot less juice to lay for sure.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking my official recommendation here, personal recommendation, under 4.5 rounds at -160, currently at 5 dimes. Thanks, guys.